is a new episode of
Cookies.
And Christ.
Oh, we did it right this time.
I know, and we didn't even practice. Y'all should be proud of us. So, if you don't know, Cookies and Christ is an extension of Print Pray Slay. It is something that I offer in my Patreon group, in which we come on live, and Morgan and I are sharing Bible study notes as good friends, and you all are along for the ride. We happen to be in Exodus. We've already finished Genesis. I just did my flip through of Job. So check that video out. And now we're in Exodus. This is the second video in Exodus. We already went through Exodus 1 through 4, had a snag at 4. It's a big situation at the end of that video. So we're going to do a recap on 4:18 and beyond. And then we're going to end where this video is supposed to, which is chapter 7, verse 13. So, you know what? Let me put my notes back up. All right, so we left off in Exodus 4:18. This is when Moses is asking his father-in-law, Jethro, if he can have his blessing to go to Egypt. He basically says, yes, go in peace. And he packs up his wife and son, that is Moses, and he heads out. He has this conversation with God, and God tells him that when he arrives to Egypt, he needs to go to Pharaoh and perform all the miracles that he empowered him to do. But be warned that the Pharaoh will have a hardened heart and won't let the people go. That is the whole purpose, is for him to go make this message of let my people go. God then tells him to make sure that he lets the Pharaoh know that since he won't let God's people go, that he's going to kill his firstborn son. On the way to Egypt, the Lord confronted Moses and was about to kill him. But Moses' wife, Zipporah, circumcised her son in time. And later, Aaron got word to go meet Moses on the mountain of God. And Moses gave him the rundown of the plan that God had in order to go to Egypt and tell the elders about the miracles and everything. And they were convinced. And then the Lord sent Moses and Aaron on. So Moses and Aaron get to Egypt. They speak to Pharaoh. They basically say what the Lord said, which is let my people go.
Wait. You're going too fast. I thought we were going back to 4. You didn't move into that.
That was 4:18. 4:18 is just about how they was on their way and Zipporah basically circumcised her son.
They ain't hit Pharaoh up till 5.
Yeah, I'm at 5 now.
I thought we was finishing our conversation about 4.
You want to have a conversation first and then go into my recap? We can do that.
We need to finish 1 and then go into the other. Oh, you just want to do it all at once?
Yeah, that's what I have. Yeah.
Well, okay. Sorry, y'all. We ain't have pre-production notes.
You was doing good. We always have we should have bloopers. Okay.
We don't have
it's live.
It's live. You was like, oh, Morgan, you need to redo 4. And I'm like, okay. And then you sitting here talking about 4. And I guess I ain't going to do 4. All right, continue.
We're going to do 4 after I finish everything. I should have made that known. Apologies accepted. All right. So I done lost what I was saying. Oh, okay.
They go roll up on Pharaoh.
Okay, so they go with Pharaoh. They say, let my people go. Pharaoh replies, basically, he didn't know that the people of Israel had a God. Like, he is like, why should I let them go? Matter of fact, because y'all are so persistent, he then doubles up on their workload and harsh treatment. So the Hebrews are now having to make bricks without having the straw supplied. So then they have to go and get the straw themselves. This makes them very upset, of course. They take it all out on Aaron. They take it all out on Moses. Moses is feeling some kind of way, so he goes to God with his concern. And he's basically saying, you sent me there to help them, and I basically didn't help anything. I made matters worse. Please do something. So God grants Moses this reassurance and states that he's going to bring down the force. He says, and I quote, in fact, he will force them to leave this land. Basically, the Pharaoh is going to feel such of God that he's going to be like, y'all just go. Y'all just leave. I don't want nothing to do with y'all no more. 1 second. All right. So then God goes into these lovely statements of I am. And I love when he does that. He says, I am Yahweh, which means the Lord. I am reaffirming the covenant that he set in the beginning of the Bible. I promise that I am this. I will free you, redeem you, claim you. And he then ends with saying that I am Lord. Moses was all pumped about this. Like he's like, okay, yeah, God is here. He's still with us. Let me go tell the people. They wasn't having it. They refused to listen to him. And their discouragement just rubbed right off on him. And he went back to God and was like, the people don't even listen to me. How am I supposed to go back to Pharaoh and say what you told me to say? God basically says, just do it. Then the Bible takes a little spin and it goes into the lineage of Moses and Aaron. And I read all of that to learn that they are the descendants of Levi, who is the son of Jacob and Leah. And basically, you can say like Levi and Joseph are brothers, like stepbrothers / cousins type of situation. But for all simplicity, they brothers. Okay, just so that we understand, like, you know, Joseph, where he came in, and Levi, and where Aaron and Moses really lie. Okay, so they're descendants of Levi. So the Bible then jumps back to the conversation that Moses is having with God, and God tells him that he will make him like God in Pharaoh's eye, and Aaron will be like Moses' prophet. Then let's see what happens after that. Let's see. All right, Moses and Aaron do what God said. They demand Pharaoh to let the people go. And the first thing that God wants them to do is for Aaron to throw the staff on the floor. And the staff, of course, becomes a snake, just like it did once before. However, Pharaoh has these magicians. They do the same thing. And he's just not impressed. He's not moved or anything. He's like, but the section ends with Aaron's staff / snake swallowing up the other snake from the sorcerers, and stating that Pharaoh's heart remained hard as he refused to listen, just as the Lord predicted. And then it ends there before it goes into the plagues, which Morgan will cover later on.
Say it again.
So the plagues. The plagues, which, hold on, what's wrong with the way I say the plagues?
Say it, because I'm hearing you saying plagues, like legs with a P at the beginning. Plague.
Plague. Plagues.
Plagues. Not plagues. What's a plague? A fun plague?
It's what is it? It's the frogs. it's the locusts. The plague. Right. Don't make fun of my accent, Morgan. That's not.
I love it. You made fun of me for calling myself Moses last month.
When I tell you, y'all, I rewatched the episodes just because I'm like, oh, I want to, have a recap and do my little Bible recap. I was cracking up. Moses said.
Look, hold on.
Morgan said, and she named the baby Morgan. I was like, did she? What I said in the Bible? Is that in the footnotes? Is that his nickname? So no, she didn't name the baby Moses.
Morgan means of the sea. Moses was put into a river. I mean, like, we here. We ain't gonna go there though.
You see her reach? That's a lot.
You sound like a hater. Because what does Kelly mean?
Kelly means warrior princess, like Xena, the show. What you mean? My mama put a lot of thought into that. Not my middle name, though. I won't tell y'all that.
I know it, y'all. But anyway, okay, cool.
Please don't embarrass me, lad.
We ready to go through this?
Yep, I got my notes. My Bible was filled. I got highlighters and pen marks.
I was uber. I don't know. I was just really, really into the story, so I went beyond today's reading. So I need to stop, figure out where I'm gonna stop mine at before I go into the plagues, as Kelly says.
The plagues.
So I just need. Okay, I know where I'm gonna stop. Okay, cool. So going back to 4. When Kelly was on her recap from last month, what did I have in that section? I had said, I was like, Moses be worried about the wrong things instead of what he's instructed to do. And that was from Exodus 4:11. Because he was like, Oh, because basically Moses was self-conscious about his stutter and didn't feel
Mm-hmm.
equipped, or he was having like imposter syndrome, what we would call imposter syndrome. Like, they not gonna listen to me. Like, I can't do this. This is too big for me. Like, why me? And God was just like, who makes a person's mouth? Like, I made your mouth. I made your situation. I know what you're capable of doing. And instead of him focusing on this is the mission that I was called to do, he focusing on all of his what he perceives to be deficiencies, or just all his insecurities. But I think it was a reminder, at least for me, that sometimes we feel unqualified to do the things that God has called us to do, but He has already given us the things we need to be successful in His ventures. So that was just a note about me, about silencing insecurities and just stepping up to the plate when called. Um,
Okay. I like
and
it.
then in Exodus 4:14, where it says the Lord became angry with Moses, I was like, I would have been annoyed too. Like,
I know.
like, you are irritating me, dude. Like, why we gotta go back and forth? Um,
Because he's not secure. He's not feeling he just
yeah, but he was extra. Like, he was extra, extra. It's kind of like how you have those conversations with.
he was having to go back to the place that he ran away from.
Right, but listen, it wasn't even about going back. He was just afraid of doing the thing. Um, because clearly like I said, he was an assassin. What he afraid of? My man knew all the tricks. Well, they wasn't gonna catch Moses slipping. But what I'm saying is, like, you know how you go when you're younger, under 18. You only get so many times to go back with your back and forth with your parent before they be like, "All right, now I said what I said."
That's what he said. Now,
Like, I feel like he went beyond. What was it, like 3 times they went back and forth?
because my God is a patient God.
I would say that's a lot of patience, because I'm annoyed with
Yeah,
God. I'd be
he
like,
is patient.
you know how you sometimes you watch shows or whatever and you hear the child talk back or take a tone and you be like, don't do it, don't do it. That was me. What you doing? Like,
Be like, anytime now, God is going to, oh, there you go.
yeah.
He said on 12, now go, exclamation point.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
And
But
then
I mean, yeah.
the last part, like 24 through 26, I had to reread that section like 5 times, because I was the way that our text, I guess, was written before.
You had to seek outside guidance
Yeah,
because
I was like, why he about to kill Moses? He just sent him on a mission. Like, what? Like, I was so confused. So I don't know what versions of the Bible you guys are reading out there, and if you guys had to get outside context. But luckily, our Bible, Kelly, hold it up for the people, has footnotes. Um,
it don't look like, but
yeah.
yeah.
So you got the footnotes, and that cleared up the things, and just talking about, because at first I was like, because he was like, why is he about to kill Moses? Moses was like, okay, cool, I'm on the way. So it wasn't non-compliance from the mission, but the section below just talked about how it was about circumcision. And if you guys recall back with Abraham, that was the decree that God made with Abraham, that people, his chosen people had to be circumcised. Moses' son was not, partly because, well, it's assumed that it's because his wife was not of the faith, and in their faith or in their culture, circumcision was just not a thing. And because his son, because he didn't, put his children or his son in the, what is it called, ritual, then he was like, oh, nah, my guy. But it's just interesting, because I want to know, how sometimes, well, there are multiple times in, so far we read, God manifests itself and, like, physically, like, he talks about a man wrestling with Israel or different things. I want to know, was this another physical representation, or was it like a thing where, like, he was like choking, you know what I'm saying? Like, you sleep and all of a sudden you choking, and your wife is like, oh, something's going on with him. I know it's something to do with the Holy Spirit. Let me go circumcise my son real quick and then rub his feet.
I don't know because
Because it didn't say that a man
anybody who
appeared.
don't
It said
know
God was
about
about to
that,
kill him.
yeah,
But normally it would say
I,
a man appeared.
again, I don't know. I was just like, if you weren't raised about that life, you don't grab, and slice. So I was like, that's it's like it really didn't give clarity on me understanding just from the text
Mm-hmm.
what was going on. It just, like you said, it really just jumps to, they was walking and then God was about to stop and kill him. And then no, it's like, it's on 24. It says, on the way to Egypt, at the place where Moses and his family had stopped for the night, the Lord confronted him and was about to kill him. But Moses' wife Zipporah, took a flint knife and circumcised her son. That is all. That all happened. That's a heck of two sentences. A lot happened in them two sentences.
Like, yeah, you like on the way. Okay, cool, you on the way. Oh, he about to die. Oh, I got a circumcised. Like, it was so quick. I was very, very
Swiftly.
confused. But it, to me, that also brought up questions of, we know that yes, Moses was born to his Israelite family, but he was adopted. I always, yes, he knew who his people were, who his people were,
Yeah.
but how engulfed was he in the culture and of the faith to know that that's really what he was supposed to do? Because I feel like he should have argued that fact to his wife, especially once God appeared to him and was like, "I got a mission for you." I would think, but I don't know, because at the end of the day, I mean, you're a mom, so if your husband came to you and was like, "We got to do this procedure on our son," and you like, "You ain't cutting my baby," like sometimes you have to fight.
It depends, because if God said it, it is what it is. But but yeah, I kind of was like, maybe that should have came up, and him knowing, I don't know,
Yeah,
him knowing that, like, I'm assuming that he was, because he was with his mom for some time, because before she put him in the basket, so he probably was already circumcised as well. Um, so it's kind of, that was one of those things that was like, well, we got to research this. So yeah, I was definitely with you on that. Before that part, I was I was concerned with the whole statement of God um hardening. I don't, is that happening yet?
no. Well, he mentioned that he was going to,
Yeah,
but
hardening Pharaoh's heart, and I was like, why did God harden Pharaoh's heart? And then I put that I read further, and then it tells you in 7:3 why it
yeah,
was like
he
that.
goes into, yeah. That was one of my questions for the next section too.
What does my other note say? Oh yeah. I just was talking about how she know what she was doing, but because I didn't even want to be there when my son was circumcised. Like, I told my husband, I said, "You go." And his doctor was a male. My husband was there. He was surrounded by men. I was like, "That's something that y'all do," because I knew I was going to feel sorry. Because I don't think they numb the baby. I don't think they do that in the hospital. It's like a quick little snip, and they done. Now, I asked them to numb my son. I think they just told me, "Yeah, we're gonna do that, Mom. Don't worry about it." I don't know.
Was it like a local anesthetic? Or was it like a needle to the area on top of
I didn't get to see it. I was in the bed. I had a C-section. I couldn't be walking around chasing that. So so yeah, that was just, yeah. Mm, mm-mm. All right. So any notes on 5?
5? My first note was 5:2. My first note was about Pharaoh assuming that God was weak, um, because he was like, basically like, God, like, your God, like, who is him? And kind of like laughed it off, like, and that,
He was like, "Is that so?"
like, oh
I mean,
really?
it seemed like it was because he would think that if you all had a God, then surely he would have showed up by now, because I've been mistreating y'all for the past couple years. So um I think that was his route. Like, why would, if you have a God, why would this be allowed, type of thing? And why, who just gonna stop because you claim to have a God now? I mean, that's what I felt like he was coming from. Show me.
Yeah. Um, I kind of agree. It was just arrogant because I just
Definitely.
I just feel like um, we aren't that far removed from Joseph and the great works that he did for Egypt. So I don't know where this Pharaoh came from. Like I was like, was it not like the son of the existing guy who should have known about this stuff? Like, did they have less?
It's weird because if it says it was like 400 years later, but people live long, it's not the same Pharaoh. I
I
know
know
that.
that's what I'm not saying the same Pharaoh. I
Um,
said the son of that Pharaoh. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
is it not like the throne isn't inherited? Was it like they had an election? Oh, you knew Pharaoh? Like, how did he not know about Joseph and them and their God? That he
That's what I said. It should have been written
on the
on something,
tablets.
or a spoken story handed down, or anything. Because this is a big famine that like it could have wiped some people out.
I'm just
So I don't know if he just decided to ignore it because I mean he ignoring some other stuff. So
yeah, I agree.
yeah.
Um,
But then he just the retaliation was crazy. He was like, I want y'all to do the same things with less.
yeah.
Like
So that's my other note. When I was like 5, 4 through 9, I just wrote just experiencing hardships as a result of obeying God and having the discipline to not question, did you hear what you heard, when you don't get like those immediate results or when your situation goes from bad to worse, because that's what happened. Like they they asked to be released for 3 days. First of all, my whole I titled this section in my notes toxic work environment. um because essentially Moses went up there and was like, can I put in a leave request for 3 days for me and my homies to go pray? And he was like, request denied. And matter of fact, I'm turning off the lights. I'm taking your paper. I'm taking your pencils. Will write me 42 essays by the end of the day. Figure it out.
yeah.
Like, it's mad toxic. And then people getting beat. And now they mad at Moses and Aaron because you got us in trouble. Like, this is a toxic.
You made it worse. Like you were supposed to come save us. You ain't say nothing about a double shift before the whole release comes. So when he said they was gonna make the bricks and he wasn't gonna supply the straw, and then they had to go find straw. It wasn't like, oh, the straw was over there, now we just gotta walk further. Like
Well,
you
why
had
can't
to.
they just go to where the people was getting, where the Egyptians was getting straw?
That's why I said it's. I think it was like they had to go find some straw. It wasn't like it was just a pile of straw and they just happened to go there and come back, go there, come. It says like they had to go
But
find. I thought that's what I
they
read.
said they have to.
Yeah, find it wherever
They
you
find
can.
it wherever the Egyptians was finding theirs.
It must have not just been in a nice little pile, or they didn't give them access to that. They said, "Go do what we did to get the pile. That's what y'all need to do." And I needed to be the same amount of bricks that y'all had before. Then they whipped the foremans and things like that. And they had some choice words for Aaron and Moses.
I mean, yeah.
They was waiting for them outside. They was waiting for them boys outside. Like, what they say to them? May the Lord judge and punish you for making us stink before Pharaoh and his officials. You have put a sword into their hands and an excuse to killing us. That was strong. Mm.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, unfortunately, that's the case of blame the messenger.
Yeah, I said they mad at the wrong ones.
But they can get mad at Aaron. I mean, sometimes it's like when you tell somebody some news, like I'm telling you some bad news about somebody that you care about. Instead of you getting mad at them or the person who really did the thing to you, you mad at me because I'm the one that's more attainable to you, that is less of a threat or whatever the case may be. So
I mean, they've been crying out to God, so they probably had, they just didn't make it in the book, but they probably had some prayers and some cries out to God about the situation. Like, you sent this messenger, Moses,
yeah,
to us, and when he came, it was, harder than it was, and sometimes that happens, like the pain before the good thing happens.
I guess I didn't, going into like the next page. I didn't understand why Moses even went back. Well, I'm not gonna say I didn't understand why. I knew why he went back, went back, but when he talked to God and he was like, "Yo, you sent me here. I did what you said. It didn't work. Now everybody mad at me." But God had told him originally, Pharaoh not going to do what he going to do.
God didn't say that Pharaoh was going to bring down the pain. Like
He said, "I'm going to
he said
harden
he's going to harden his heart and tell him
hard
to
heart
take his
you."
firstborn. Hold on, did he tell him that though?
He did. You remember he mentioned his heart will be hardened.
No, I know God. What God said happened, but he said to tell him that I'm going to. He said, "Let
Said,
my
"I
son
know
go."
that the king of Egypt will not let you go unless a mighty hand forces him." That's in 3:19. And he
I am looking at 423 on page 146. It says, "I command you, let my son go so he can worship me. But since you have refused, I will now kill your firstborn son." I think that's he said, "Go and tell him that." I don't remember him telling Pharaoh, "God gonna kill your firstborn son."
oh, he ain't say that yet.
I mean, it's going to.
He
He's going to say it. I just thought that he was supposed to say that along with.
No,
Like I remember him.
no, the first thing he was supposed to do was do the tricks about the staff and the different things. That was the first thing that he told him he needed him to do. Well, for Aaron.
So when did he tell him to let us go so we could take a 3-day journey into the wilderness?
When did he say that to Pharaoh, or when did God tell him
No, when did God tell him to do that? Because I don't remember that being the instruction.
that?
Because that's in Exodus 5.
Yeah, that's in Exodus 5:1. That's he said it. Uh,
But I don't remember God saying this is what you need to do. But I mean, apparently he told him,
he told him.
and that's what happened. He said no. He made labor harder. Aaron was, upset about it naturally. And then God, again, like I said, gave them reassurance, which is the part that you like. And then I like all of his I am statements.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was mine. Now that we went backwards. Going into you want to talk about his I am statements before I go in, because we now into it.
Well, before the I am statements, God goes and reassures them. Like I said, that's 6:1. I highlighted a lot, but I bolded in fact. And then God goes in and saying, "I am Yahweh the Lord." God, I am El Shaddai. I reaffirm my covenant. I promise to give you guys the land. I am well aware of my covenant. I am the Lord. I will free you from the oppressor. I will redeem you with a powerful arm. I will claim you as my own people. I will be your God. I will bring you into the land I swore to give Abraham. I will give you as your very own possession. And then says, "I am Lord." All of that is from 6:2 to 6:8. I loved it. I just highlighted all the I am, I will, I will, I will, I am, I reaffirm, I promise. So that was beautiful.
I think it's cool. I want to know. I mean, I know he is the Lord. I'm just always interested in language. Like, he let Adam name all the animals and stuff. But all the animal words were like English. Yahweh is not English. So, like, who made that the language? Like, Yahweh, El Shaddai, like, who?
I guess when he spoke it, because it's not spelled phonetically like Yahweh, it's YHWH, I believe.
No, it's YAHW.
Yeah, that's how it's phonetically spoken, but it's really just YHWH. That's how Yahweh is spelled.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, I think it's cool. I would love to know, like, what permanent language did God speak?
That must be the language of God.
Yeah. I be thinking about thinking.
Thinking about thinking.
Thinking about thinking. Because, like, it's a whole new language that I don't know nothing about, that I would love to learn about. Anyway, sorry, you guys. I like to learn. um,
We at 9.
6 9. Oh, yeah, yeah. I asked the question. I said, "Have you ever been so discouraged that you couldn't listen or couldn't receive or just felt so defeated that you didn't want to fight?" Because that's basically what happened. Like at this point, they were just so discouraged, not only because they already been suffering, they already been crying out, and now when they thought that their, for lack of better words, savior or their way out had come, then it got again from bad to worse, and now it's like now we're getting beaten. Now things are even more. We're feeling more pressure, and it's like, and now you're coming back saying that God, the same God that we've been crying out to for, we'll go ahead and say at least hundreds of years, estimating. Now he's coming, but the first time you said this, like, look at us. So what's next? Except for all of us to die and just being so defeated by like circumstances that you can't receive your blessing. But then on the other hand, they didn't even have to do anything really. They just had to sit back and just let God do His thing. Well, let Moses do his thing on behalf of God because God really didn't ask the people to do anything other than believe. So it's like,
I mean, it's the harshness of what was going on.
mm-hmm.
It's not just. It'd be different if they was like, "Oh, we just got to maintain being slaves for a little longer." Being a slave became harder.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like
and
that
it's
level of
like,
discipline,
wow.
you can't even receive that someone is literally telling you God is pulling up. Like Kelly, like you been in prison. Remember when Joseph was locked up for all them years? He sent his guy out. It was like,
And forgot about him.
yeah, for years, and you just sitting there by the bar. It's like, all right, any minute now they gonna open up the gates. I'm gonna be let out, and you ain't let out.
Mm-mm.
And then Joseph never lost the faith, but I could say I probably at least about a third month I'm like he
I
had
definitely
forgot
would have
about
been.
because
Yeah, I would have been
he
discouraged, just like them, especially since it was physical pain, mental pain, emotionally. You're like, imagine that thing because they've been praying too. Like, it's not like they just been waiting around. Like, I've been praying for something, and now somebody has come randomly and said that this is about to happen. Um, so I got the reassurance that this is about to happen. And but then instead of the savior coming to help me with the situation, harsh treatment comes before it. And it's not like they understood that this was going to happen. It'd be different if he came as like I was told. I remember when I was trying to get acne medicine when I was a kid, and they was like, "Hey, face gonna be beautiful. However, before it clears up, it's gonna get worse." Knowing that at least gave me the option. I didn't take the medicine, but knowing that I did get the option, and if I were to go through it, I would know like, okay, the medicine is making my skin worse. However, I knew that this was going to happen, so I'm going to push through. I'm not going to be like dermatologist. You're not doing fired. Like, I'm not going to sue her. I'm not going to do nothing like that. I'm not going to stop using the medicine. I got to keep using medicine to get to where I got to go because I know. And they didn't know that, but this is something that we are reading and we know. So to know that, we're going to go through a whole bunch of hardship just in life, all around situations, and know that it's going to be, victorious towards God's will in the end is helpful. But it does feel better, I would say, knowing that, or having the reassurance of that. Like, we know that that's going to happen for us, but for somebody to say, hey, you lost this, but you're going to have a better job, or you're going to have a better marriage, you're going to have, your son is going to stop using drugs, or whatever the case may be. This, for some reason, when you were talking, it made me think of cancer, because that is something that leaves and comes back for some people. To know that you're relieved and you're like, you had this whole celebration, like people go out, they had the parties and all of that, and be like how they kick cancers behind, and then they get cancer in like a different place. Like, one of my friends was talking about how their loved one had cancer in like 3 different places. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's so, that you feel so defeated. Like, I had all these other victories. Why is it back? Type of situation. So it is understanding that they will be very discouraged when Moses said, "Oh, God gonna deliver us." Well, y'all, because I'm not in the situation, but God is going to deliver y'all. I'll be back. And then they went and found him and said, "Do you know what's going on? Things is worse." And then he went to God. God pumped him up with all of the I am statements. He went back and they were still discouraged. And then again, they made him discouraged, which I was like, God, just how it's. I'm sorry, I'm so frustrated. I have the words, but it's like God then told you all these I ams, like Yahweh is up there. Um, and then made you, made sure you understood what was going on. And then they told you, I don't want to hear that no more. And you didn't got deflated and went back to God. Like the people don't believe me no more. So I don't know if he wanted God to do a whole bunch more. And I think sometimes again for us, we want to do the same things. Like, well, God, you said that was going to happen, so go ahead and do that. Versus sometimes it's like you just gotta do. I told you to do it, go do it, and then just let it be.
At first, I had a similar mindset, and then I was like, to me, I can't really say if Moses equally felt as discouraged so much as he was actually trying to advocate for his people. It's like, okay, God, brought me out here, you hyped me up. I told you I didn't want to do it, but now I'm out here doing it. Moses was really of the people. He's like, they not feeling it. Like, give me the words to tell them to help me help them understand. Like you helped me understand for me. Like because he felt so much empathy. That's why he went back. At first it was like, why he going back to God? And God going backslap him. He already tried to kill him. Like that was your warning. But it's like
You already talking to God and you are talking to the Lord.
yeah.
And you still like, I don't know. Like it's at that point, he might as well have said, God, can you tell them what you told me?
But
Because that's
also
the
I
only
think
way
it
they're
goes
gonna
back
believe.
to his insecurity because he was like, why did you send me? Like clearly I didn't do this right because look at what's happening. Like I made things worse. Why did you choose me? I already told you that I wasn't a good spokesman. I already told you that these were my shortfallings and you said to go do it. And obviously I've messed it up and now your people don't even want to pray to you and they're so discouraged that they have lost their way. Help me. Like that's how I came back to read it after I read it the second time. And it wasn't so much of you ain't doing this right. It was just like I'm not doing it right. They are big mad. Like they won't even come back and talk to you now because it's just that bad. Like, do you see what's going on down here? Like, did you know this was gonna happen? We didn't even talk about all this. Where was the debrief? Like, like all those things. So, I wrote that's one of my notes. I was like, Moses was really other people, even though he wasn't raised with them. I feel like he always felt this intrinsic need to protect them, and that goes back to when he was out here assassinating people just for the heck of it. Well, not for the heck of it, for them doing.
I was saying no, he wasn't out there having fun.
What I'm saying, but like
He saw the mistreatment and felt like I gotta step in.
even though he was raised outside of the community, he still always felt like those were his people and that he was I don't say called to them, but he felt a connection. So I think that in that situation it was a good fit. The last note, oh well that's my last note first.
I believe that Sway gets the best of him though. If I remember this story correctly, what happens with Moses?
In 6:12, he was just like, my own people won't listen to me. How again, he's questioning his own insecurity because he's like, if the people who I'm supposed to lead out of here not even rocking with me, how am I going to sway Pharaoh? How am I now going to do this when I don't even have their backing? It's one thing when you send me and I know the whole community got my back, but now I'm basically going to be doing this alone. Again, just questioning his capability to execute God's vision. So to me, I just think it's all of him just thinking less of himself and not knowing that when God calls you to do something, you already got everything you need to.
I wonder if I don't why I've never talked to a pastor about this, but for some reason I thought about a pastor just now, and I wonder if they feel that way, because it's one thing to be like, oh, I'm called to, like, share God's word. That's pretty much anybody can share the good news, and you should. It's Great Commission. Um, but as pastors, that's a whole different realm, and for them to feel like I've been called to be a pastor, but the people in the church don't listen to me, or there are hardly people in the church. I wonder how, but that you've been called. Um, I wonder about the pressure that a pastor might feel, or those in the heads of the church, if they are faced with that same type of feeling, and how they get over it, knowing that God called you to do this thing. But I mean, to take it out of being a pastor, that could be anything. God called you to be a wife, and you're like, I'm not doing this right, or a mom, or whatever the case may be, a teacher, and you're like, I've been called to do this thing, or to lead these people, or to fix this problem. And I'm discouraged because I'm not doing it right. And I know I was called, but I'm messing up people's lives. So I'm messing up my life,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever the case may be. And you going back to God, and he's like, I said what I said. So I definitely anybody can take how Moses felt and really, understand where he's coming from. So yeah.
Um,
I don't. Do you understand why the ancestry popped up like that? Like, I was just like,
he
wow,
was
that
real mad because I felt like we should have been had this conversation, because I was like, brother, like, because we learned that they was executing the male babies. So where does brother come from?
you mean Aaron?
Yeah, remember they was
So I looked. Is it when they said that? I learned. Okay, so Aaron and Moses are like,
their brothers.
no, I know they're brothers, but they're like 3 years apart or something like that, right? Yeah, 80 years old, 83. Yeah, they're 3 years apart. So I was like, when Pharaoh came down and was like newborns, it must have been just newborns. Like, not like if you already had a 1-year-old, they good. But that newborn, he didn't want the newborn. So Aaron was born, and then 3 years later, that's when Moses was born. And Pharaoh, that year, Pharaoh was on one, and just yeah.
I did not go back, but wasn't Levi one of the more ruthless brothers?
Yeah, he was the one that went after Dinah had got raped.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Simeon went and ironically was like, circumcise yourselves, and then went through the town and
Mm-hmm.
kind of just had a whole massacre situation, not in defense of their sister, but more so in
Wow,
lieu
boy.
of what they wanted, their own selfish needs.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the
So
that's
I just wrote that that's cool. I
that's
mean,
their
not
grandfather.
cool, but like the lineage and how, even though I wrote on my notes was, um, you are not the choices of your ancestors, and talked about like breaking generational curses, because
That's
like
nice. That's a great point.
you see, Levi had all this anger. And even when we go back to like Joseph and him being like a trickster, and then his dad, Jacob, being like this person, like we've seen generational curses and mistakes and making some similar choices. But in this case, you see the opposite, where you have Levi, who was like this wild boy. And then you see from his lineage, we have these two people who were called to basically lead his people to greatness, to the land, to fulfill the
Mhm.
promise. So I thought that was dope. That was my note I had about
That is really nice. I like how you said that. That's wonderful.
that. I think, yeah, that was my only note about the lineage. Did you have anything about that?
No, I really wanted to remember, like, how is Joseph entangled in all of this, and I was just like, they like Joseph is like they cousins. I'm just gonna sum it up to cousins. Joseph, Aaron, and Moses are like cousins. I mean, they great type cousins, because Joseph is still older than them, um, and died
That's your
beforehand.
uncle.
Hold on, Levi,
Like
Levi,
great uncle.
Levi, and Joseph are brothers slash cousins.
Would just say they brothers. They got the same pappy. All
They
right.
got the same dad, but their mothers are sisters.
They got the same pappy.
Okay, so they are brothers.
Yeah, and then so his Levi's son, so that's Joseph's nephew, and then that nephew had Amram,
Aaron and Moses were from Amram.
Amram of Koth. Yeah, so so they're Levi's great grandson. So they're like great nephews. Nephews, not cousins. But anyway.
If you took the route of them being cousins in the first place,
I
they
would
were
say
cousins.
and then I got second. That's my
But yeah, I would say brothers trump the title of cousins. But
um,
yeah,
but yeah. And then well, yeah, it was very random how that was placed in there.
yeah, I didn't understand it,
I
but I
feel like
thought it was good
it would have been
information.
better placed to me. I feel like it would have been better placed when they first talked about, all right, take your brother Aaron with you, because I was like, Aaron. That's when we should have got this lineage to me. But okay, because like it just was so random. It's like a little detour, like pit stop. Oh, fun fact. This is how.
By the way, and then it gets back to the conversation with God.
Yeah.
Like,
Um.
yeah.
My note from
And that's not because we have a chronological Bible. Like it legit is in 6.
yeah.
Like that's just Exodus 6. It just it's just in there. And then Exodus 7 is when action starts to take place before the plagues.
Yeah, so I wrote Exodus 7:6, how Moses was 80 years old, and just like even though this was considered young during that time, well probably now they're probably like middle age now, because the lifespan is getting shorter, but just not as short as it is now. And just that God can use you at any age. You are never too old to be used by God to have a purpose. Even if you missed it, even if you've taken a couple wrong turns and loop the loops or whatever, like if you feel like you get that call and that itch, you might as well go ahead and follow it. I don't care if you 2 days away from, meeting him in person. You spent your last 2 days the way you supposed to.
Mm.
Um,
I have a note before that in Exodus 1 when it's saying, I will make you seem like God to Pharaoh. And I noted that I highlighted like God and put as in powerful, powerful like God. Like and Pharaoh will all that he was doing before, he gonna shut all of that down at that time. So he wants Pharaoh to feel inferior to Moses, like know that Moses is not a one to be reckoned with. And then Aaron will be your prophet. So I made note of that. And then that's when he answers the why that I had from 421, which the question I had from 421 was why would God harden Pharaoh's heart on purpose? And then he answers it in Exodus 7:3. It says, but I will make Pharaoh's heart stubborn so I can multiply my miraculous signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. Basically, everyone will know I am the Lord is what he's doing there. So using someone else's, because Pharaoh was already a bad person, but using that bad for good.
yeah.
So I was like, oh, look at my answer already. Because I was like, why, Lord?
Yeah, because we haven't talked about the other sessions when he repeatedly like the heart gets hardened, but we'll talk about that next week because I had a similar question and I was like, oh, will be revealed. My last note from the section was just like these Egyptian magicians. What? So you telling me y'all everybody can turn a staff into a serpent, but y'all can't just go ahead and like miraculously build these bricks?
I'm about to say build these pyramids.
Yeah, like that's good. Y'all ain't got magic, but y'all.
So that's trickery, though. It's not like it's real.
What else? I'm like sorcery. I'm like, what?
Now,
Is happening?
sorcery is different than magic,
Yeah,
though.
but he said he
sorcerers.
called in his wise men, his sorcerers, and his magicians. So the whole.
Well, they use magic. They didn't use sorcery. Sorcery
And
would have been on some other type stuff, but magic is an illusion of the eye. So I believe they use magic. So it wasn't real. Like ain't no
I
way.
know it wasn't real, but I was just like, man, these people are advanced. So we still turning straw into bricks, but we got magic. Like,
I don't. Did you understand the point of the serpent devouring the other serpent?
Yeah, like it's nothing to a giant.
I'm just saying, like, did he have to? Did he have to eat the other snake?
Yes, I'm mightier than you. I'm stronger than you. Like it was a point to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, swallowed up their staffs. But yes, that was the end of the section.
Yes, it
Um,
was.
I mean, like I said, I entitled that section "Toxic Work Environment" because it was very toxic. I know how it is to be given an assignment and then it's like a group project almost, so you gotta be a team leader, and then you're trying to get your team to get into it, and you do your first presentation and you get bad feedback, and now everybody discouraged, and now you're like, all right, y'all, I'm still trying to get y'all to the finish line. Ain't nobody trying to hear what you trying to say no more. They ain't really rocking with you. Now they don't want to talk to you. They don't. It's just very, very stressful place to be, knowing that you still got to meet your deadline, and,
Yeah.
and now they not with you. So I felt for Moses a little bit, even though last section he got on my nerves by just questioning the assignment so much. Um, he got on my nerves a little less this section because at least he did do it, I guess, or make an attempt to do it. Um, but
Okay.
that was it for this section. And the next,
I'm thinking I liked how it's leading up because I know what's happening. I like what's about to lead up to it. Not that I, want to see, all the people hurt and stuff happening, but some people are like, oh, show me a sign, Lord, do this for me, Lord. This is like God is doing some things when these plagues strike Egypt. And that is going to happen in 7 through 11, I think. 7 through 11.
yeah,
7 through 11. Yep.
7 through 12.
Oh yeah, 12 goes into what is 12 going into?
12 is 12. 7 through 12.
Oh, that's when the Holy Spirit. Well, I believe it's the Holy Spirit comes through.
Yeah, through Passover.
Is that considered the Holy Spirit?
It said the Spirit of God.
I'm going to read it because I read it before, but I ain't read it to study it in a while. So
Yeah,
we'll learn what is happening in 12. So do you want to do all the way up into B?
yeah.
All right, I will type that in. Let's see. Let's see. I always have a time, y'all. Always have a time. Trying to figure this. This thing still say. Mm-mm.
It's not off the screen yet.
It's not off the screen.
Mm-mm. Like it's still just up. Normally, when you take it down, it goes away, and then when you change it, it comes back.
Mm-mm. This is weird. It's doing something weird right now. Oh,
Well,
there. All right, there you go. I was like, why is it not letting me? We still at 7 though, so it's still gonna be 7 to 12. Right? Yeah.
7:14
Yeah, 7:14. I'm just gonna put 7 as well. But it is 7:14.
through 12:30.
Ah. All right. So that is it. We hope that you guys really learned something today and really got something from our notes. If you have anything to add, please list it below. Ask the question below. I don't know why I was going to say call me, but put it in the comments, please, and let us know if you have any questions or anything to add to what we already said about the study. Again, it was we're in Genesis
We're in
4.
Exodus.
Excuse me. Yeah, I said Genesis.
Yeah.
In Exodus. We are out of Genesis. We are in Exodus 4 through 7, and then we're going to move into 7 through 12. Hopefully, you all read ahead of time so y'all can be there, right along with us. And I did want to show this is cookies and Christ. Sometimes I do have a cookie. All right, so this is my cookie. I want to explain. I know it looks weird, but it's delicious. It is a cookies and cream Oreo situation going on over there. It is delicious. And then I put some ice cream on top of it. I ate it right before Cookies and Christ actually started. And I'm going to try to eat the rest of these. I'm going to share with the children. That's what I'm going to do. What'd you say?
Huh?
Okay. All right. Bye, people.